Good afternoon, guys. As we continue on this journey, today I'm going to do Genesis 4 of the KJV, King James Version of the Bible. I'm going to read into Genesis 4 for the first time. I've never read Genesis 4. So I'm going to read it, and I'm going to, based on what I find there, I'm going to give you my personal opinion as to how it relates to our current day situation or our common day, anything that's common between the text of the past and what is currently happening with us today. Don't forget, guys, I want you to subscribe, like the video so I can keep doing this. I promise to put Genesis 4 out today. So here we go. So I'm going to read it. Genesis 4, King James Version. And Adam knew Eve, his wife, and she conceived and bare Cain, and said, I have gotten a man from the Lord. So this is the first time in the Bible where you've seen that two people come together and they recognize each other for the differences that the body allowed them to see, and they were able to put one and one together and tie them and get that child, right? So they're able to technically, for the first time in the Bible, where they show that two people are literally bearing a child through sexual intercourse, right? It didn't say that, but we know that's how you bear children today, right? Until most recently, where they could do other scientific marvels to allow you to have kids. But before all these spectacular marvels that are now, we knew that the only way you could have a child is a man and a woman coming together and having sexual intercourse, and the man giving out his semen, and the lady egg is being taken out from her, from the tube, I believe, and the sperm goes into the egg, and a child is conceived. Right? Don't quote me on all of that, but basically, in a nutshell, that's how it happens. 2. And she again bare his brother Abel, and Abel was a keeper of sheep, but Cain was a tiller of the ground. So here is a second child now, Abel. So Cain is the first, Abel is the second. Abel is, you could say, a shepherd because he's keeping sheep, so he was a shepherd. And Cain was a farmer, so he toiled the soil, right? So he toiled the soil, he planted vegetables, fruits, whatever. But Cain, so Abel was more into tending to sheep. The older brother was tending the soil. And in the process of time, it came to pass that Cain brought of the fruit of the ground an offering unto the Lord. So here you have, again, in the first one that I just read in 2, you've seen where, for the first time, you could see that humans have to produce for themselves. They have to literally work the soil in order for them to feed themselves. So this is the first farmer that you see. You could consider Abel a farmer too, because he was raising sheep. So these are the first time that the Bible talks about farming, and which was a necessity for survival, and we still require farming up to today for necessity. So the past, present. And when Cain brought the fruit of the ground and offering unto the Lord, and Abel, he also brought of the firstlings of his flock and of the fat thereof, and the Lord had respect unto Abel and to his offering. So here you see, this is the first time where you see a preference is being given, right? So one thing is favored over the other. So here you have God is favoring Abel's offering than Cain's offering. Why? I don't know. However, you could see where a favor from one to the next is the first time that you see that. And we still have that happening today, where people favor one person over the other, right? Even in households, in work, in friendship, people still favor one person over the other. And this is the first time that you see it in the Bible, where one was favored over the other based on the offering, right? And the Lord said unto Cain, Why art thou wroth, and why is thy countenance fallen? So pretty much the Lord realized that Cain was upset, and he didn't like that. And this still happens today. If you recognize somebody's you doing the same work as the person, or you feel you're even working harder than the person, and the person is getting more favor than you, we still tend to get upset, right? And it still happens today. If I'm working hard, you're working hard, but I feel I'm working harder than you, but you are getting the reward more than I am, we tend to feel a certain way about that. Some of us can get over it, some of us may not, right? And if thou well, shalt thou not be accepted? And if thou doest not well, sin lieth at the door, and unto thee shall be his desire, and thou shalt rule over him. So the Lord is basically telling Cain, hey, you need to do better than that. And if you feel that your offering is not being accepted, maybe you're doing something wrong. Maybe you should find out what it is that you need to do so your offering can be accepted, right? So, bam, he just threw a monkey wrench at him. And Cain talked with Abel, his brother. And it came to pass, when they were in the field, that Cain rose up against Abel, his brother, and slew him. Okay, so Abel and Cain, they in the field. Abel have no idea that that day was going to be his last day, but Cain knew that. So Cain knew, because of the jealousy that he had towards his brother, he knew that he was going to, jealousy and anger and all that inside of him, he knew that he was going to take the life of his own brother, which he did. But Abel wasn't aware of it. Abel had no idea. Jealousy, anger, in today's age still allow people to take lives of other persons, right? People still do a lot of murderous stuff because they're angry and because they're upset, and it's still happening today. And this is the part of the Bible where you see the very first murder that ever took place, right there in the Bible, where Cain killed Abel, and that's the first murder in the Bible, right? And the Lord said unto Cain, Where is Abel thy brother? And he said, I know not. Am I my brother's keeper? So, and this is a lie again, one of the lies, first lie in the Bible, where somebody did something wrong. They asked him what's going on, and he said, nope, I don't know anything about this. So that was one of the first lies that was told, and it's right there in the Bible. People are still lying today. You could see it all over. If you watch the television, you can't get enough of it. There is so many lies upon lies. People, you would catch them in the act, and they would still lie and say, hey, I didn't do that. What are you looking at? Right? So lies are still happening today, and this was one of the first lies. So we have the first murder, we got the first lie, we got the firstborn, right? All that is in Genesis 4. You got the firstborn, secondborn, first lie, first murder, right? And all that is in Gen 4. Only in Gen 4 have so many things that are still happening today. And he said, What hast thou done? The voice of thy brother's blood crieth unto me from the ground. So the Lord is hearing Abel is crying for help, right? Abel is crying because his blood has been soaked into the soil. So God already know what happened, right? But he wanted to give Cain the opportunity to say what he did. And when thou tillest the ground, it shall not henceforth yield unto thee her strength. A fugitive and a vagabond shall thou be in the earth. So the Lord just gave a punishment for Cain killing Abel. And his punishment was, wherever he tilled the soil, wherever he goes and he tried to plant stuff, they're not going to yield the full strength of whatever that soil was supposed to give. He's not saying that it's not going to produce, but it's not going to give the full strength. We see that sometimes today when people steal land from other people, or they take land by false pretense, or they underpay for a land today, and they knowing that they're underpaying for the land because they know the person is desperate. And sometimes when they go and take that land to do something, it doesn't always produce the same way it would have produced had they been very honest, right? So this thing is still happening today, even as we speak, right? Fugitive is still happening. People commit murder, they run away, right? They hide. In that case, the Lord actually created that fugitive right there by kicking him out, right? Making him a fugitive. Get out of here, right? And you'll keep walking and hiding, and we know what fugitive does. And he called him a vagabond. What does a vagabond mean? A vagabond is somebody who's almost like lazy, useless kind of way, right? Who's boisterous, who's always in a fighting mood and stuff like that. These are what a vagabond encompasses, a lot of negative energy, right? And Cain said unto the Lord, my punishment is greater than I can bear. So he killed his brother. The Lord is giving him punishment by making him a fugitive and a vagabond, and that whatever soil that he's going to tilt is not going to produce it with the same strength, which means that the soil is not going to be as nutritious. It's not going to have the same kind of nutrients that it's supposed to have. And here he's saying that his punishment is greater than he can bear. No remorse, no forgiveness, nothing. He had no remorse about killing his brother, but he's worried about his punishment. And he's worried about that his punishment is more than he can bear, because they make him a vagabond and they chase him out, and the soil is not going to produce that much. So you're not worried about you killing your brother. Isn't that still happening today? When people kill somebody, they don't take responsibility. They don't have a remorse. A lot of people don't have remorse after they take somebody's life. This is still happening today. Behold, thou hast driven me out this day from the face of the earth, and from thy face shall I be hid, and I shall be a fugitive and a vagabond in the earth. And it shall come to pass that every one that findeth me shall slay me. So he is concerned that when he goes out there, that anyone that find him will slay him. Anyone that find him, because remember, fugitive, right? If you're a fugitive, that means you're running from something. You're running from the law. You're running from some kind of crime. You're also a vagabond, right? Which means that you live in on scriptureless lives. You're not living, a life of honesty. And he's worried that he will be slain, just like he did to his brother. So now he killed his brother, he's slain his brother, but now he's worried that he himself will be slain. So we still see that happen today. People take somebody's life, and then they're afraid that their life will be taken, right? They're worried that their life will be taken, right? Anyway, let me go on. And the Lord said unto him, therefore whosoever slayeth Cain, vengeance shall be taken on him sevenfold. And the Lord set a mark upon Cain, lest any finding him should kill him. So basically the Lord actually put a mark on him so he could be saved. So this is the first time in the Bible where we actually identify that Adam, Eve, Cain, and Abel were not the first humans on the earth. Because right there it tells you that he was worried that other people is going to slay him, is going to hurt him. So who are those other people? Personally, in my opinion, this is my personal opinion, guys, I believe they have three main races in the world, and every other race comes from these three main races, right? You have blacks, you got Asians, and you got Caucasians. And every other group is from mix of these races, black and white, black and Asian, Asian and white, and so on, right? So you got a mix of other people that are mixed are coming from those three main races. So therefore, I will conclude, based on that statement that was made, that the Lord said, right, anyone finding him So therefore, I believe there was already two groups. There were already two groups on the earth at that time, and I think the two groups that was there, in my personal opinion, was the blacks and the Asians, and the Caucasian, like Abel, Adam, and Eve, came from the Caucasian race. So the Caucasian race was the last race on earth. Black race was the first, Asian second, Caucasian was the third race. That's my opinion. That's my personal opinion, right? And then I'll go through that in another video. I'll try to get the science behind it and explain my, other than just the Bible telling me this, I'll explain why I believe so. And Cain went out from the presence of the Lord and dwelt in the land of Nod on the east of the garden. So Cain is still around the garden, but he went to the east side. So he went, remember in the beginning where God created the river coming from the west to the east? And then you had the Euphrates and all these other rivers on that side, on the east side. So now you have Cain, who moved to the east side of that. So he's moving to Nod. So Nod would be in areas like close to Syria, in that general area there, right, on that side. That's where he would have moved to. He would have moved further on that side. And that's where the people that he was worried about, that's where they were. Because remember, if you look at the Mediterranean Sea, which moves from west to east, this would be the Garden of Eden, in my personal opinion. That's where the river that Genesis, earlier Genesis 1 and 2 talks about, I believe that's where that river is. I think the Mediterranean Sea is the river. If you go history, you'll see that it was much closer together, and now it's have widened up. People could have walked from Africa to Europe and all in these areas way back in the day. So, so I think that's where it is. The Garden of Eden is between Europe and Africa, and that general area there. I think that's where the Garden of Eden is. If you compress the Mediterranean Sea together, that entire area would encompass that the Garden of Eden. That's my opinion. And Cain knew his wife, and she conceived and bare Enoch, Enoch. Now, the reason why I'm spelling that name, because they're going to have another name that will sound similar, right? And that second name that will be coming, this is where Christianity bloodline is filtering from, right? That's where the Christianity bloodline will filter from. So remember that as we keep going through the journey. But Cain had a son named Enoch, right? Enoch. And he built a city and called the name of the city after the name of his son. So he went to Nod. He got a wife. Remember, he left Adam and Eve. He killed Abel. He left Adam and Eve. He went to Nod, and then he took a wife. So there was other people there before them. So I don't want anybody to get confused about this. There is no way he could have gotten a wife when he went to Nod, right? Because he took a wife there. That's why he took the wife, when he went to Nod. And then his first child became Enoch, Enoch, right? And he built a city, and he called it after his son. And unto Enoch was born Irad. And Irad beget Mehulael, Muhulael. I guess is Muhalael. I can't pronounce it. And he make a child named Mephusael, and Mephusael begot Lamech, Lamech. Remember Lamech, right? He's gonna come in again as an important name later on. And Lamech took unto his two wives. So Lamech, now remember, Lamech is the grandson of Lamech is going to be the grandson of Cain, right? And he took two wives. Lamech took two wives, and the name of one was Adair, and the name of the other was Zillah. So he had one wife named Adair, Adah, and the other one named Zillah, Zillah, or in the Caribbean we say Zillah. It depends on where you're from. Adair and Zillah. So Lamech, who's the grandson, now have two wives. And Adair bore Label. So Adair, one of the wives, had a child named Labal, Label, Labal. And he was the father of such as dwells in tent, and of such as have cattle. So he was living in tents. At that point, they have tents. Now, here we seen tents already, right? We didn't see any tents before, but all of a sudden now we have tents. So it means that these people have the knowledge. They have evolved so much that now they have tents, right? And they have cattle now. Remember, we started with Abel having sheep. Now we have cattle now. I remember in the Garden of Eden, they had already have all these animals, right? From the beginning. So all these animals were already existing then, because now you have Label, who's living in tent and have cattle. And his brother's name was Lubal, Lubal, and he was the father of all such as handled the harp and organ. So now you have another brother who's playing music. So this is the first time you see music, right? First time you see a tent, a housing, a cover. So first time you see a house. First time you see a city is built, right? So now you have a city that's been built. You have cattle. You have tents, which is housing. You have harps and organs. So now you have music. So this is the first time music is being talked about in the Bible. Now you have music, right? So these are two musical instruments, correct? So now we have those musical instruments there. And Zillah, remember, they had two wives, right? He had two wives. Adair and now Zillah. So Adair had the two kids. Now you have this other one who's going to have kids too. And Zillah, she also bare Tubal Cain. So I guess they hyphenate. This is the first time you see a hyphen name in the Bible. Tubal - Cain, right? So Lamash's wife Zillah had Tubal - Cain. So this is the first time in the Bible where you see hyphenated names. We still have hyphenated names today, so people still hyphen the names there. And this is the first time you see it in the Bible, and it's still happening today, right? An instructor of every artificer in brass and iron. Hold on. Now, artifacts in brass and iron, and the sister of Tubal Cain was Naamah. So now you have a sister now, Naamah, Naamah, right? That's how I pronounce it, Naamah. I could be wrong, but I say Naamah. So now Zillah has two kids, one boy, one girl. The boy deals with iron, so now you see brass and iron. Now you start seeing, first time in the Bible, you're seeing industrious, right? Somebody's being very industrious. Now you have brass and iron. So now you have somebody who can work with brass and iron, right? And therefore, if you could work with brass and iron, we know what brass and iron do today. And then you had it there. Somebody way back in the day was doing that. So that's the first time you hear about brass and iron in the Bible, which we still use brass and iron up to today, right? And Lamash said unto his wives, Adair and Zillah, hear my voice, ye wives of Lamash. So now he's saying, listen to my voice, the voice of Lamash, right? How many people you know that talk in the third person about themselves, right? It still happens today. People still talk about themselves in the third person. I'm not going to mention names. You guys could figure out. Watch TV, you would see it. And Lamash said unto his wives, Adair and Zillah, hear my voice, ye wives of Lamash. Hearken unto my speech, for I have slain a man to my wounding, and a young man to my hurt. So now he's saying that he killed two persons. Now, Lamash is telling his wife that I killed two persons, one because they wound me and the other one because they hurt me. So now you have a man who's angry because somebody hurt him, therefore he had to kill them. Somebody wounded him because he had to kill them. Now, did he kill them in self-defense? I could make an argument, maybe that's what it was. Maybe he killed them in self-defense. And if that's the case, this is the first time in the Bible where you see a situation of self-defense, where somebody defend themselves because they got wounded by somebody else, or they get hurt by the person. And I'm sure the hurt is talking about maybe not necessarily being wounded. Maybe he got hit with a wood or something, and then it hurt his. It didn't cut him to cause a wound, but it caused damage to him. So he ended up defending himself very likely and taking the lives of these two individuals. So here you have a guy who's confessing that he took the life of two persons because they hurt him and they wounded him, right? So maybe it was the first self-defense in the Bible. I don't know, but I would reckon that's what it was, because the way it's written is almost like it was a self-defense. By he's saying that he slain them because they wound him and they hurt him, right? And if Cain shall be avenged sevenfold, truly Lamech 70 and sevenfold. So he's saying that if the grandfather, right, if the grandfather would have been avenged sevenfold, if any, remember when they put a mark on him, God put a mark on him and say if anybody hurt him, they're going to be hurt 7 times. So Lamech is saying, on Cain, sorry. So Lamech is saying, if when God did that anybody had hurt Cain would have been hurt 7 times what they did to Cain, now anybody who come after Lamech will be hurt 70 and sevenfold. 70 and sevenfold. I don't even know what 70 and sevenfold means. Is it 77? Is it 70 times 7? I don't know. I think it's 70 times 7, and that's a lot of hurt, man. That's a lot of suffering if anybody go after Lamech. So Lamech is saying, listen, don't even try it. Don't even try to defend. Don't even try to come after me, because what the Lord did for my great-grandfather, he's going to do for me 70 times sevenfold. So don't even think about it. Forget about it, buddy. Right? And then the Bible continues and said, and Adam knew his wife again. So they bring it back to, remember they left Adam. They were concentrating on Cain. Now they leave Cain and they go back to Adam now. And Adam knew his wife again. So now he knew his wife means that he slept with his wife. Again, and she bore a son and called his name Seth. So now you have the third child from Adam and Eve. Remember, you had Cain, Abel. Now you have Seth. Cain killed Abel. Abel was kicked out. Abel had his own family. He built a city. He had Enoch. Enoch. Enoch had kids, and the kids had kids, and so forth, right? And now they take you back to Adam and Eve, and they said Adam and Eve had Seth. And they said, for God said, she hath appointed me another seed instead of Abel, whom Cain slew. So they're saying that God gave them Seth to replace Adam. Okay, so I don't know if God would have replaced Adam. Maybe he did. But I wouldn't see it as a replacement. I would see it as an addition to the family. It's just that one passed away already, so now you have a new one. So I guess technically you could say he replaced Seth replaced Abel, technically, because Abel is dead, right? But he could also replace Seth too, because Seth was gone. But Abel is the one who's deceased, so I guess the replacement is for the dead, not for the living, I suppose. So therefore, God gave her the opportunity to replace Abel with Seth. All right. And to Seth, to him also there was born a son. So now Seth have a child now. And he called his son Enos, E-N-O-S. So remember that, guys. E-N-O-E. Remember, Cain have a child named E-N-O-C-H. I don't know how they come up with those names so close. I don't know if Seth and Cain, at some point they came together and they had a conversation and say, hey, this is your, and tell the kids, hey, this is your uncle, this is your nephew, and stuff like that. I don't know, but the name Enos is close to Enoch, right? E-N-O-C-H. That's the first child of Cain. And the first child of Seth is E-N-O-S. Remember, I tell you guys, remember that. The names would be close. And then began men to call upon the name of the Lord. So after Enos was born, that's when they started worshiping, right? Calling unto the name of the Lord. And this is the first time you see worship in the Bible. Because if you say you're calling upon the name of the Lord, that means you're worshiping to the Lord, right? And that's the first time in the Bible where you see worshiping is happening there by calling on to the name of the Lord. And this happened right there. So they call on to the name of the Lord. So guys, tell me what you think. Leave a comment or two. Tell me what you think. We'll do 5 soon. And don't forget, those 2 names are going to become very important. Enos and Enoch. We're going to dwell into it a little further. We're going to dive into 5 soon. I'll try to see if I can do 5 maybe by the weekend. We're expecting snow here over the weekend, so that might give me an opportunity to do 5. If I can do it before that, if I can do it tomorrow, I'll try to do it tomorrow. But for now, guys, thank you for watching. Leave a comment. Don't forget to subscribe, guys, and have a wonderful day, guys. Wherever you are, whether it is morning, evening, or afternoon, wherever you are, have a wonderful day. Thank you, guys. Have a good one. See you on the rebound, guys.